Hello everyone, my name is Ronak and you're watching VectoArt. In today's video, we will continue working on the note-taking app which was built using .NET MAUI in our previous video. So this is how this app looked like, and we created a simple looking note-taking app with the Notes tab and the About page. And the Note tab had this text box where you can enter your notes, and when you click on save, the file would save it in the drive that was specified in the code. So today we will extend this app to add new bindings and also use navigations to move to and from pages. So without any further ado, let's get started. And for those who haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. It means a lot. So let me close this application and go back to Visual Studio. And let's start by changing a few things. So let's talk about binding data to the UI and navigate pages. So this portion of this tutorial introduces the concepts of views, models, and in-app navigations. In the previous steps of the tutorial, we added two pages to the project. One is the Notes app, Notes page, and the other one was the About page. So here is the Notes page and here is the About page. The pages represent a view of data. The Note page is a view that displays the note data, and the About page is a view that displays the app information data. Both of these views have a model of that data hard-coded or embedded in them, and you will need to separate the data and model from the view. With you may ask, what is the benefit of separating the model from the view? So it allows you to design the view to represent and interact with any portion of model without worrying about the actual code that implements the model. This is accomplished by using data binding, something that we will be presented later in this video. For now, let's reconstruct the project. So let's first start by separating the view and the model. So to refactor the existing code to separate the model from the view, the next few steps will organize the code so that the views and models are definitely and defined separately from each other. So first, let's go ahead and delete the main page XAML and XAML.cs from our projects. They are no longer needed. So let me click this and right click and delete. Next, let's right click on the Notes page. Let's right click on the Notes project and right click and add new folder and call it models. Let's right click again and add another folder called views. So we have two new folders, models and views. Next, we have to select this Notes page and drag it within the views. Make sure you also include the xaml.cs file and drag it and drop it within the views. And the same thing goes for the About page. So that is done. Let's select the About page and also move that within the views. So now that is done, let's update the view namespaces. Now that the view have been moved to the view folder, you will need to update the namespaces to match. The namespaces for the XAML and the code behind file of the page is set to notes. This needs to be updated to notes.view. So in the Solution Explorer pane, let's expand both the Notes page and the About page, and let's reveal the code behind. So let's double click on the code behind. Let me close all the other tabs just to avoid any confusion, and also open the About page.xaml. So let's go to the Note page.xaml, and here after you double click, you will see the namespace is pointing to notes. And now we should make changes to this to add views here, since we have moved this to the views folder. So let's do the same in the About page. Okay, so now let's double click on the Note page.xaml item to open it in the designer. And here you will need to do a few changes. So the old namespace is referenced through the x.class attribute, which defines which class type is the code behind for the XAML. This entry isn't just the namespace, but the namespace with the type. So change the x.class value to notes.view.notespage. So let's fix it by adding views, and let's repeat the same to the about.xaml file. So let's go to Solution Explorer, open the about page.xaml and add views here and dot. So now that is done. Let's fix the namespace references in the shell file. So the app shell.xaml defines two tabs. So let me open the app shell file first. So here it defines two tabs, one for the notes page and the another for the about page. Now that those two pages are moved to the new namespace, the type mapping in the XAML is now invalid. The previous declaration maps the XAML namespace of local to the .NET namespace of nodes. We need to make a few changes here so that it maps to the new folder that we created. So let's add views here and save this, and we should now be able to run the app without any compiler errors, and everything should work as before. So let me run this application. So here you can see our app is now working as expected. So next we will start defining the models. So let me stop the application and go to the Solution Explorer. So currently the model is the data that is embedded in the node and the about views. We will create new classes to represent the data. First, the model to represent a nodes page data will be created. So in our Solution Explorer, let's right click on the models and click on add and select the class. Let's name this class as nodes.cs and click on add. So this will open the newly created nodes.cs page. So let's add a few properties. So I have some code already copied. Let me paste it directly so that we minimize the time of typing, and I will walk you through what changes I have made. So let's save the file, and next we will create the about page model. So right click again on the model, add class, and let's call this about.cs and click on add. Let's paste a few more properties here. Let's save this, and here in the about page I have added the title which is the appinfo.name with the version from the properties, and more info URL and the message. And in the notes I have added the file name property, the text, and the date property. So next we will update our about page, so which is simple. So let's start with the about page. The about page will be the quickest page to update, and you will be able to run the app and see how it loads data from the models. So before it was all written in the code behind, but now we will use the about page model. So let's go to Solution Explorer and open our XAML file. I think it is already open over here. So let's make a few changes. So here let's add the model namespace. Let's save this. The next change you have to do is add the x.data type. So let's add x data type is equal to models dot about. So we have added the x data type. Let's add a content page, and let's make changes to our labels that we have here. So previously this text was directly hard coded as notes, but now we will change it to a binding, and the same for the version. We will change the binding here to reflect the binding from the version. So let's copy this, go back here and change this to version. So let's save this, and let's also change this to a binding. So let's copy this and paste it over here and change this to message And finally, save this. So let's look at the changes that we did. So first things first, we added this model namespace. This line maps the notes.model.namespace to the model's XAML namespace. The next one was the x.datatype model about. This line instructs the XAML compiler to compile all bindings expression for the increased runtime performance and resolves the binding expressions against the notes.models.about page. Next is the binding context. So this property of the content page is set to an instance of the notes.models.about class. Then we added, or we made changes to the three labels. First is the title label, the version label, and the message label. So the final changes for you should look like this. Now let's work on the event that the button invokes. So let's go to our about page dot xaml cs, and here we need to add this method. So right now we had this method which invoked the click event, and it was calling this await launcher default open async and the path. So we need to make small changes here. So let's start first by, so here I have added a few changes. So if you look at the highlighted line here, the code checks if the binding context is a model.about type, and if it is, assigns it to a about variable. The next line inside the if statement opens the browser to the URL provided by the about.more info URL property. So let's run the app, and you should see that it runs exactly the same as before. Let's try changing the about models value and see how the UI and URL opened browser also changes. So right now the application is building. So here you can see our about page is working as expected. So we bound the about page view to the about model. So now we will do the same to the notes page. So we will be binding the note view to the note model. However, in this case, the model won't be created in XAML, but we will provide it in the code behind in the next few steps. So let's go to Solution Explorer. If the notes.page.xaml and cs are not open, in that case you can go here and open them, and we will need to replace a few content in the notepage.xaml file. So let's open that, and first we will need to add the namespace. So let's copy this namespace from here and go to our page here and add it to our code. Next we need to add the data type. So let's go back to this code and copy this and paste it over here. But there is a change here. So instead of about, this should be notes. Should be note, and save this. And the next one is the binding that we need to change. So previously the editor was not bound to a text property, but now we will need to add the text property and bind it to the text. Next, so here all that we did is, so we are done with the changes to the UI. Now we need to make some changes to the code behind. So the modifications for the code behind are more complicated than the XAML. The current code is loading the file content in the constructor and then setting it directly to the text edited text property. So but you might see some errors here, but please ignore them. The application is running as expected, but here is what the current code looked like. So instead of loading the nodes in the constructor, we will create a load node method that will do the following. So first it will accept a file name as a parameter. We will create a new node model and set the file name. If the file exists, load its content into the model, and if the file exists, update the model with the date the file was created. Set the binding context of the page to the model, and so on. So let's start doing this. So in our Solution Explorer, let's go to nodes.xpage.xaml file over here and add the following method. So I have added this method, and we'll also need to update our constructor to call the load node. So let's do that. So it's done. So what we have done is we have created this load node method that does the following. One is to accept the file name as the parameter, create a new node model and set the file name. Then if the file exists, load its content into the model, and if the file exists, update the model with the date the file was created, and also set the binding context to the node model. And we used the constructor to call the load node with the path combined using these file system and path node properties. So next is add a view and a model that lists all the nodes. So in this part of the tutorial, we will add the final piece of the app and view that displays all the nodes previously created. So right now it had only the node view, but we are now going to add another view which will display all the previously created views. So multiple nodes and navigations. So currently the node view displays a single node. To display multiple nodes, we will create a view and a model called all nodes. So let's go to our solution explorer, and here under the views, let's add a new item. And in this, let's select .NET MAUI, and let's select a content page XAML, and let's name this as all nodes page, and click on add. And let's go to our models and add a new class called all nodes.cs and click on add. So we have our model and the pay view created. So all the new model will represent a data required to display multiple nodes. This data will be a property that represents a collection of nodes. The collection will be an observable collection, which is a specialized collection, and when a control which lists multiple items such as list view is bound to the observable collection, the two work together to automatically keep the list of the items in sync with the collection. If the list adds an item, the collection is updated. If the collection adds an item, the control is automatically updated. So that is why we will be adding the observable collection. And to do all these changes in our solution explorer, you can go to the models and open the newly created all nodes.page, or if it is open, you can go here and make the following changes. So let me paste the code, and I will talk about or explain what I have done in this. So let me make a few changes here, and that's it. So the previous code declares a collection named nodes and uses the load node method to load nodes from the device. This method uses link extensions to load, transform, and sort the data into nodes collection. So here you have the load nodes method, which first clears the nodes, gets the folder where the nodes are stored. Next, it uses the extension to load all the nodes that end with .nodes.txt files from the directory, and each file it selects the file from the directory. Each file is used to create a new node, and with the final collection of nodes, it orders them by date and adds these nodes to this observable collection called nodes. So this method is used to load all the nodes. Now we will design the all nodes page. So let's go to the all nodes page, which is open here, and let me add the code. So this XAML introduces a few new concepts. First is the content page.toolbar items. So this property contains the toolbar item, the buttons defined here are usually displayed at the top of the app along the page title. Depending on the platform, though it may be different positions, when one of these button is pressed, the clicked event is raised just like a normal button. So next is the toolbar item.icon image source. So this property sets the icon to display on the button. The icon can be any image source defined by the project. However, in this example, a font image uh, is used, and a font image can be a single glyph from the font as an image. Next, we have the collection view. The collection view control displays a collection of items, and in this case it is bound to a model's notes property. This way, each item is represented by the collection view is set through the collection view.items layout and collection view.items template properties. For each item in the collection view's item template generates the declared XML, and this binding context of the XAML becomes the collection items itself. In this case, each individual note, the template for the note uses two labels, one are which are bound to the note's text and date property. So here we have this collection view and the data template, and each note that we create will be displayed on this all notes view in this fashion with the label, text, and the date. So this is the front end, and now let's make a few changes to the code behind of this all notes page.xaml. So let's right click here and go view the code. You can also go to the solution explorer and double click on this, and let's add a few things to this all notes page.xaml.ca. So so this code uses the constructor to set the binding context of the page to the model. The onAppearing method is overridden from the base class. This method is automatically called whenever the page is shown, such as when the page is navigated to. The code here tells the model to load the notes. Because the collection view in the all notes view is bound to the all notes model, like we saw here, it is bound to the all notes model, the which is an observable collection. Whenever the notes are loaded, the collection view is also automatically updated. Next, we have the add clicked handler, which introduce another new concept called navigation. Because the app is using .NET MAUI shell, you can navigate to pages by calling the shell.current.async go to async method. Notice that the handler is declared with the async keyword, which allows the use of await keyword when navigating. This handler navigates to the notes page. The last piece of code is the previous snippet is the notes collection.selection changed handler. This method takes the currently selected items, a note model, and uses its information to navigate to the notes page. Go to async uses. The last piece of the code in the previous snippet is the notes collection selection change, which is called from this notes collection from this collection view. So whenever a user changes the selection of notes, this method is called, and this method takes currently selected items, a note model, and uses its information to navigate to the notes page. The goto async uses a URI string for navigation. In this case, a string is constructed that uses a query string parameter to set a property of the destination page. The items ID parameter is set to the file name on the device where the note is stored. The visual you might see that it is indicated that the property does not exist, which it doesn't. Then in the next step is to modify the note view to load the models based on the items ID parameter that we will create. So right now there is an error here, and we will fix it in the next steps. So first, the note view needs to support the query string parameter item ID. So let's create it now. So in our solution explorer pane, let's open the views/page note page.xaml. So here we have it open. Let's open this CS file, and let's add a query property attribute to the class keyword. providing the name of the query string property and the class property it maps to, and the item ID and the item ID respectively. So let's copy the code that I have. So here in our node page.xaml.cs, let's add this query string property above our nodes page class. Let's save this. And let's add a new string property named item ID. This property calls the load node method, passing the value of the property, which in turn should be the file name of the node. So here let's add and adding this property has removed all the errors that were previously there. So now let's replace some methods. So we had previously this save button and the delete button, so these needs to be modified. So let me copy and paste and let me paste it here, and I will explain what are the changes that we have done. So here, right before, we just had the file, save the file dot write all text, but now the new save button has this binding. It checks if the binding is of type models.notes, and if it is, then it writes the file name and the text editor value and awaits for the shell to go to the async or go back to the previous screen, which is the all notes page. So, and then let's talk about the delete button. So the delete button previously just checked if it is existing, and if it does, then it used to delete the file and used to set the text editor as empty. But now it checks if the binding is of type notes dot node, and then it will delete the file if it is existing, and then the await shell dot current go to async will take you back to the all notes page. So let me delete the previous implementation of the save and delete button and save our changes. So these changes are now done. So let's also delete the file name property here on the top. We won't need it anymore. And next we will modify the app's visual tree. So to modify the app's visual tree, the app shell file should be updated. The app shell is still loading the single node page. So let us go back to the app shell, and it is still loading the single node page. Instead of that, it needs to be updated to load the all page.view. So here, first thing that we need to do is change this data template local to point to views. Sorry, change it to local dot all nodes page view. So let's save this, and now if you run this application, so here you can see our app is modified to display the all nodes page, where you have the node title and the date of the node created, and also we have this toolbar where you can add nodes. So you will now notice that this app crashes if you click on the add button, complaining that it can't navigate to the nodes page. Every page that can be navigated to from another page needs to be registered with the navigation system. The all nodes page and the about page are automatically registered with the navigation system by being declared in the tab bar. So let's register the nodes page with the navigation system. To do that, let's go to the Solution Explorer pane and open our app shell XAML CS file, which is open here for now. I will go to this and open this app shell and add this piece of code. So this routing.register route method takes two parameters. The first parameter is the string name of the URI you want to register. In this case, the result name is nodes page, and the second parameter is the type of page to load when the nodes page is navigated to. So now if I run this app, If you click on the add, it will provide the option to add new notes, save, and also delete them as you please. So hope you all liked watching this video. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up, like, share, and do subscribe to my channel. Also, if you want to download a copy of the completed project, you will find a link in the description to the GitHub repository from where you can download this code. In the next tutorial, we will learn on how to implement model view model MVVM pattern in this existing project. So stay tuned for more updates to this notes taking app. Till then, bye bye.